Welcome back to another episode of the Saline Post Show. I'm joined by Tran Longmoore from the Saline Post, and we're going to talk about some of the top news stories from the last few weeks. So thanks for coming in.
I'm glad to be here.
So start things off, City Council recently had a special meeting about Michigan Avenue Makeover.
Yeah, reporter Stephen Howard went to that meeting last Wednesday, and basically what Saline City Council did is they approved the application for a $500,000 grant that will be used to build a new streetscape. So like decorative lights and some brick pavers in the sidewalks and some other things for downtown Saline that are going to be installed at the same time as the whole Michigan Avenue gets done in 2016. And I think in total they're looking at about $1.4 million for the entire project. So if they can get $500,000 grant from the state, that would be great. There's some more grant money available that's going to reduce the cost. There's a couple of interesting provisions in there. I don't know if you remember, but everybody was talking about a road diet.
Yep.
Reducing Michigan Avenue, and I think you remember that wasn't a popular idea.
No, they've kind of gone back and forth on this project with a few different ideas that have come up and then got shot down, and so it's changed a lot just over the last few months.
And one of the things I think that's going to be a little bit like the road diet, we'll see if it's as unpopular or if it is popular, is they're going to construct. They're talking about constructing islands, both east and west of Ann Arbor Street on Michigan Avenue, and there'd be like a boulevard in the middle of the road. That the idea of it is to allow, it's supposed to look nice with some plantings and stuff like that, but to allow people to cross the road mid-block and then not have to go all the way across in case traffic gets really busy. You just kind of stop in the middle, play Frogger a little bit, and then go all the way across. So, but I think right now people say, why does anybody need to cross the road? And, from an empty lot to a church parking lot. So
yeah,
I think I think there's going to be some controversy there, but I think people are looking forward and trying to be forward-looking with that too.
Yeah, I actually just had David Rhodes in recently, and he talked about the Michigan Avenue Makeover some. So if you don't want to trust Tran or I on this, maybe watch that interview and listen to what he has to say. So
yeah.
So we have a new school board now as well, some new members and some seats changed.
Yeah, well, the new member is Tim Austin. He was elected in November. Everybody else is a returning member. Tim Austin, I think his grandfather and great-grandfather were both president of the board back in the day, so this is sort of continuing a Austin family tradition for him being on the board. But one of the interesting things is that at their first meeting in January, the board elected new officers, and Paul Heineck, who was secretary, now becomes president of the board. David Holden, who was president, now becomes vice president. And Karen Delhay, did I pronounce that right? Delhay, okay. So she becomes, I don't think she had a position before.
Nope.
She becomes secretary, and Chief Craig Heft, who was the vice president, he's not going to serve as an officer. And there's a couple things here. David Holden noted that if you notice, everyone who was nominated for one of these new positions, they were nominated by the person who used to hold that position.
Yeah.
So he sees that sort of as a sign of unity, and I think all the votes were 7-0, so there wasn't any political struggle on this anyway.
Yeah, no, it was one individual nominated for each position, and that was it.
Yeah, they were all unanimous. And so why does the board need to show some strength and unity? Because down the road, it's not a secret, maybe as soon as November, Saline area schools will go to voters looking for a bond or a tax increase for 20 or 30 years for how many ever tens of $1 million. And David Holden, as vice president, is going to be kind of overseeing this project, putting this bond issue together, and the interesting thing there is the last time Saline voters rejected a bond proposal, Dave Holden was one of the people who was leading the campaign against it. So it's kind of interesting there. I think on the one perspective, Saline area schools are saying, okay, we got somebody who's sort of notoriously fiscally conservative is going to be the one putting this together. So I think from that perspective, maybe people are going to trust that this thing is pretty lean when it does come out. At least that's what the thinking is.
Yeah, and I'm sure people will see more as more school boards go on leading up to November, and maybe you'll have some kind of poll or something coming up out.
Yeah, well, I'll put a poll out there, but internet polls,
who knows? How about something a little bit lighter, so we can talk about Winterfest happened last weekend. We sent out some people to shoot for the day, but I'm sure you were out there on the street too.
Yeah, we had a reporter there Friday at Mongiamo for the snowball, which was a sort of a dance and DJ and food, and people got dressed up. And then I was there Saturday, and I think I was a little bit skeptical that this thing was going to get pulled off. Dave Eberlein, who sort of spearheaded Winterfest, he just kept adding events. People would come up to him and say, Dave, I got a great idea for Winterfest. And he'd say, that is a good idea. And he'd throw it on. So in my head, I'm like, there's just too much going on. I can't even figure out what to cover. But as I was walking around, people were all over downtown.
Yeah.
The stores were packed. People were shopping. They were on the scavenger hunt. There were the stormtroopers or snow troopers everywhere. Those were a big hit. The Tauntaun, which sort of reminded everybody of a really disgusting scene from Empire Strikes Back. And then, but I think in general, people just had a good time. And Main Street did a good job again.
Yeah, like you said, there was just a ton for people to do. The list on the website went for pages.
Yeah.
I know you have some coverage. We're going to have some videos coming soon. Like I said, we had a couple people out for the whole day, so look for those coming up soon.
Yeah, so hopefully this, Winterfest had kind of gone away for a year, even 2 years almost, and now it's back, so hopefully it grows and they build on the success from this year.
Now, coming up, the foundation has their annual Snow Blast event, and what's that kind of like?
It's kind of like it's Saturday night, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Saturday night at Travis Point Country Club. I'm not the country club type myself, but I'll be there. And it's really pretty casual event.
Mm-hmm.
People are eating and drinking and having fun. But it's also, it's an educational fundraiser. So all the teachers, especially the next generation classroom teachers, are showing people what the money that what they're using the money for that they've been raising. The foundation has been raising all this money for new iPads and other technology they use in the classroom. So this is an important fundraiser, and I think they're raising $75,000 again this year for Saline area schools. Next gen classrooms, plus a whole bunch of other projects. So I think it's a great event, and tickets can be purchased at Community Education.
Yeah, and there's an opportunity to win a Ford Escape lease. So,
We
hey.
have 2 years from Briarwood Ford.
Good morning, Saline. I am Cheryl Heft, and I'm president of the Foundation for Saline Area Schools. I'm standing in front of this Ford Escape 2015, which we are raffling off for the foundation as a moneymaker. This 2-year lease is available through our raffle tickets, and tickets are available at Saline Community Education or online at Support FSAS. The winning ticket will be drawn by Briarwood Ford Steve Whitener at our Snow Blast on January 31st at Travis Point. Those tickets are also available at Saline Community Education.
So the library had some new changes. They got some new statues, you said, right?
Yeah, we talked to Leslie Neathammer about this, the library director. They've got, if you go behind the library right now, it's still being installed, but there's already 3 new birds. There's a red-tailed hawk, a wild turkey, and a blue heron, I think it is.
Okay.
And they're all steel, I don't know exactly what it is.
Sculptures.
but they're all sculptures, and they're made by Ken Thompson, who's a sculpture artist who works down in Blissfield, Michigan. and he's an interesting character, and he's one of the best at what he does, I think, in Michigan, if not the United States. So this project is being installed, and we can let Leslie talk about it here.
Yeah, here at this video clip.
Hi, I'm Leslie Needhammer. I'm the library director here in Saline, and I am standing in front of the Wild Bird Discovery, an art installation that we are putting in place here in the middle of winter. The story is in about 3 or 4 years ago, you may remember there was a whole bunch of trees dying in our area because of that imprellis. We were paid for the replacement of all these trees by DuPont. So the library received $102,000. And you know, we planned to replace the trees, but there was no way we could spend $102,000 on new trees. So the board came up with this idea of taking that money and creating an art fund. And then we put together a committee. So I have a committee of about 7 or 8 people. Then we started meeting and thinking, okay, what do we want? Someone suggested, probably it was Valerie, I'm sure it was Valerie, about this sculptor named Kenneth Thompson, who lives in Blissfield, and that he does installation art, which is big art. So it's a outdoor sculpture that has many parts. And then we think that there'll be a lot of educational opportunities that we can work with the Saline schools over the years to kind of work with the sculpture and do projects that are related, bird related. In end of November or December, they came out and they poured the concrete for it's sort of a half circle, semicircle. So the concrete is in the ground that is supporting the pieces that will go in. So all the concrete got poured. Then last week, they came and installed 5 green steel posts that are in these concrete bases. And what those are going to be is they will have a platform on them and birdhouses. We'll have 5 different birdhouses on the posts. That's that piece. Then he installed 3 bird silhouettes that are life-size. There will be 15 to 17 steel panels. So you can be standing there and reading about the birds, and maybe if you were really lucky, you would see one of these birds. All native Michigan birds. The committee actually picked the birds. You know, we're just trying to provide these opportunities for people to learn about new things, appreciate nature, make the library a destination point. Like you can bring your whole family, and bring your picnic lunch, and then of course you can come in the building, and do all the things that you can do in the library. So it is January, it's very cold, we still have our coats on, but at some point when we can be in our shorts and our t-shirts, we're going to have an installation ceremony, and you are all invited to come learn more about the Wild Bird Discovery. Meantime, next time you come to the library, look out at the back parking lot and see if you see more pieces being installed. At this point, we just have about a half of the installation in place.
We mentioned the Escape On raffle, and I guess that can be our little segue into Briarwood Ford reopening.
Yeah, Briarwood Ford. It actually never really closed, but
yeah.
It's they had their grand reopening, sort of a celebration for all the renovations they did over the summer, and there were a lot of people there. The Pittsfield Township Supervisor, Pittsfield Fire Chief, David Rhodes was there from Saline City Council, David Raft, Saline Middle School Principal. So people are just glad to see a business invest in the community, especially a business that's invested so much in Saline schools and given so much to the community. So Steve Whitener and the gang there had a lot to celebrate.
Yeah, definitely. Well, speaking of celebrations, we recently had Schools of Rock here over at the high school, which obviously a huge event, sold out the first day. But yeah, you had a couple thoughts on it, on the performances afterwards.
Well, so we know who won, right?
Yep.
The winners were Pleasant Ridge
tie
and Heritage Elementary School.
Yep.
And I thought Heritage did a really good job. And I've always been a big fan of whatever Brad Bizu and the gang at the Ridge do, but I honestly didn't think that this was their year while watching that thing. What was your favorite performance this year?
I mean, I got to walk the line of appeasing everyone because,
Uh-huh.
I cater to all the schools. But I got to say, I thought they all were good performances, though. So.
Yeah. Oh, they were all a lot of fun, and again, that benefits the Foundation for Saline Area Schools. So, it's a great night, and I like listening to the way the kids are cheering.
Yeah.
When Saline Middle School's coming on and they're chanting SMS. It's fun to watch how into it. Everybody gets the kids.
Oh yeah.
The teachers who put in all this work, the staff. My wife was a teacher at Grass Lake, and she came and helped me shoot video for the event, and she couldn't believe how much energy there was for this thing, and how much, not all teaching staffs would kind of go for something like this.
Yeah, no.
And the middle school, the work they put into it was ridiculous. The costumes, the dance number, the costumes especially.
Yeah, and I'm sure you saw it on your numbers too, but when we looked at our video the next day, you could just see people were watching it like crazy. So
Yeah.
it's just, people really enjoy it.
Yeah, but I would say that Saline Middle School judges, they should have given that one to Saline Middle School, and I'm not gonna hold them too much, for that one, but Saline Middle School, and I think Woodland Meadows did a good job this year too. They had a nice job.
Well, we'll see. I'm sure there's already schools planning for next year, so
Yeah.
just wait and see what they come up with. So let's talk about some sports to finish things out tonight. So.
Yeah, boy, the hockey team's been rolling all year long, and I think the hockey team was the team that really might have been able to do some serious damage out of all the Saline winter sports teams. They've suffered a huge setback. Mike Phillips, the defenseman, was hurt.
Yeah.
He's going to be out for the regular season, the rest of the season. But they still have a lot of great players on that team, and a great coach, and they're enthusiastic. They should be ready to compete. And sometimes when one of your better players goes down, not only is that an opportunity for somebody else to step up, but it's something to rally around. So it could be there could be a silver lining.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, who knows? We might have a new player that has been performing well just step up, and we really see him start to shine.
Yeah,
so.
Noah Helber, I think, is one guy who's going to see more ice time and who's going to show a lot of skill.
Now, both basketball, boys and girls basketball, we can talk about. They've had some news going on.
Yeah, the boys basketball team they've struggled. I don't know if they've won since winning on opening night. It's been tough. They were at, but they played some good games. They played against Dexter. The first time they played against Dexter, they were terrible. And then they played against Dexter on Martin Luther King Day at Eastern Michigan University. And after a really bad second quarter, they nearly came back and stole that game. And it was fun to watch. But they need a win. They need to get over the hump there, and hopefully they get that soon.
Yeah, sometimes you just get stuck in the rut, and it's hard to dig yourself out the further you go down it.
Yeah, and they've had the added pressure of added difficulty of, they bring it on themselves a little bit by being aggressive, but they're usually shooting. The other team's usually getting 2 or 3 times as many free throws at the free throw line than Saline is. So. My sports writer there, who's been covering the basketball team, thinks the refs haven't been kind to Saline.
Yeah. And then girls basketball team been doing a little bit better.
Yeah, the girls team right now. What I would say about the girls team is they're beating the teams they should beat. They're losing to the teams that you might expect they're going to beat them. But the thing with Jeff Waltz's teams, and I don't know if we've said this before, is they get better as the season goes on. Yeah. They start a little slow. And right about now is when they start picking it up, and they're starting to do that right now. They've won 3 out of 4, I think, in the game they lost. I think the coach is pretty happy with how they played in that loss. So things are looking pretty good for Saline sports.
Yeah, and if you want to know more, at least about Jeff Waltz, you can check out the newest episode of Hornet Nation because they have an interview with him. So,
oh, great.
Yeah, check it out, see what he has to say about the team. Well, I think that's it for the show, so thanks for watching. Thanks for coming in, Tran.
All right, we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yeah, see you later.